Hello guys, we're taking another look at this cheap Chinese RC tractor here. It's 1/28 scale, and in this video we're just going to take it apart and see what's inside it really. I guess I'll start unscrewing on the bottom here, and I'll just cut to when I kind of get something opened, or something interesting at least, that we can actually take a look at. So I'll get to it. So I've got the first bottom piece off, and it's looking pretty tidy. There's a nice little board in there. Our two little motors even look very tidy in there. So far so good. I mean, it's still going to be very basic, but it seems to be like made in quite a tidy way. It's not as rough as most things. It's not as rough as the Volvo was it A40D that we have, the dumper truck. It's not as rough as that was. This is actually looking quite tidy. So I'll keep stripping it down. Okay, so now we're into the little board here, and it is very tidy. We have 4 motor drivers, very basic. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, and our trailer would be 4. That would be my guess. Then we'll have one little chip here. I'd say that's probably our radio receiver chip. Then we have another guy on the end here. I'm not quite sure what that is. Maybe it's some sort of regulator or something. But it's all fairly straightforward. We have our 4 motor drivers outputs very clearly there. So our output to our trailer is simply just 2 wires that are going to be connected to the motor in the trailer. There's nothing complicated there. It's just very basic. I think we're going to find that this single wire here is going to be the antenna, and that's pretty much all there is to this. There's nothing really complicated in it at all. We just have our power wires heading off there, and that's it. So I'll keep opening it up and we'll see what else is in here. Okay, well, we're into our gearbox here. Nothing too surprising. Usual, just standard little motor. Little gearbox. They're all the same little gears. You can buy kits of those gears on eBay. Like, there's one kit. I bet if we went through here we'd find all of those gears. That kind of looks like the one that's coming from the motor. That's where those kits are kind of based on. They just get a collection of the little gears that the toy manufacturers use, and they're pretty simple that way. There's no reason why you can't recreate something like this yourself if you wanted to. So that's that. What's in here? Because there's clearly no slip clutch there, so I would imagine there's a slip clutch in this wheel itself. So we'll take a look at that. Well, looks like I'm mistaken. That's doesn't appear to slip at all there. And it doesn't look like there's a slip clutch in there. So maybe there is no slip clutch in this. Maybe the gear was just jumping on the motor. It doesn't look like there's a slip clutch, and that feels reasonably strong, except that it's obviously underpowered. Well, there's definitely no clutch there that I can see, but I'm trying to think back now to when we were testing it. Did we actually hear a clicking on the drive? I know we heard it on the lifting arms. So maybe the gearbox is just a solid drive, or well, no, it clearly is just a straight through drive. So maybe it or maybe it wasn't clicking before. That's better anyway, because if you remember with the Volvo A40D, when you tried to drive it with any sort of load, it just clicked on the slip clutch the whole time. So this is much better, although you'll more than likely break the gearbox unless the motors are low powered enough that they'll just stall before you break the gearbox. But it's the only way to test it is really to drive it to destruction, I suppose. Well, here's the bonnet of the tractor, and you can see you do have a load of space here in front of this gearbox, which would be great for adding lights on the front here if it wasn't for these posts that the screws tighten into. But if you could work around that, you maybe get, well, I don't know, maybe 3mm LED in there somewhere, but it's a little bit of a nuisance. Just a pity that they put those there. They could have easily put them back here somewhere and left you with all that space, but that's the way it's done. The loader itself looks to be holding the motor or the gearbox together. So, well, not holding it together, there's screws holding it together, but if I take out those screws, I'm going to need to take the arm apart just to get the gearbox apart, so we see what's inside that. It's probably going to be similar to the drive wheels anyway, so. But I'll do that, I'll take it apart and we'll see what it looks like. Well, I just had to take the two screws out of the lower part of the arm here and unscrew the little connecting rod that controls the bucket there, and that kind of came off there. This little piece here that the arm connects to, it just slides off, a little square shaft there, so very easy, just pull that apart, no problem. Then left with our gearbox, so let's take a look inside. I think we'll open it this way. There's a little clasp here. There's our gearbox there, little worm gear driving the gearbox, and that there is a slip clutch there, because you can see the spring there, so, and there's the little teeth of it there. So maybe if I can push that down a little, or no, I guess, well, it should go down. Ah, there you go. Can you see that on the camera? Little gear there, spring loaded. So that's the bit that slips when the boom gets too far along. And again, it's fairly simple construction, just made of the same little plastic gears. Well, we've pretty much dug through everything, so the last thing to do is just take this apart and remove this wire, which presumably is the antenna. So that's what I'll do next. Sure enough, when you dismantle the cab, all you're left with is this little piece of wire. That's all. It'll be just cut to about a quarter wavelength, so that you get basically a monopole. They did it so that the wire went straight up through the cab and had just that little kink on the top, so probably would have been fairly good radiation pattern. It'd be fairly isometric, I suppose. So that's what's inside the eBay, or not eBay, AliExpress RC tractor there, 128 scale. All I can do now really is put it back together and put my own control board into it and see how it performs then. It's the wrong scale for me, so I don't think I'll put a huge amount of time into it. I'll not bother putting LEDs and stuff in it. I'll just do the simple changeover, put the control board in it, and that'll do. So if you're interested in that, make sure and keep an eye out for that in the following video. And if you like this one, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, and if you have any comments or suggestions, let me know below the video. And I think that's pretty much everything, so thanks very much for watching.